Alright, so I'm making stroganoff. I have 4 burners in the house, but I'd rather not have everything all like smooshed up next to each other, so I'm using my barbecue outside. So I'm going to flip the steaks, and then alright. Oh, that looks so good. Alright, we're going to go inside and do the other parts. Alright, so here I have the noodles on 4, so they do a very low boil. I've learned that if you drain them and put them back on the stove with no water in them, they like dry up and stick to each other. So they are pretty much done being boiled, because I started them before the meat on the barbecue and everything. But I'm just letting them sit there while I do everything else. If you leave them in water on a low temp, and then just kind of stir them, they won't stick to each other, and then you can drain them at the last second before you add everything else. And then over here is my mushrooms and onions, getting ready to saute, or being sauteed. And then I will be making my sauce with my Yorkshire sauce and sour cream and everything else to tie it all together. You know, honestly, I think I have just the right amount of flour left. I usually am not like this. You're supposed to measure your ingredients before you cook, but I didn't do that this time, so learn from my lesson. But it looks like I have just enough. So, yeah. Okay, so the steaks have been brought inside from the barbecue, and I will be slicing them up here in a bit. Here is my mushroom and onion sauteing. I put a half a cup of butter in here. You're supposed to, when you make a roux, you're supposed to do even parts butter and even part flour. I usually don't do that. And the reason why is because some of the butter boils off when you saute like this. I've noticed that when I do half a cup butter and a half a cup flour after I've sauteed, the roux always comes out way too thick. So what I do is I usually do the half a cup of butter, let it saute, and then I do like a third or like 1/3 of a cup of flour. I'm eyeballing it in my thing here. That looks like about 1/3 to a half a cup of flour that I have left in my flour container or bag or whatever. So yeah, I'm going to pour this in. It takes 2 hands because I always pour it in and stir at the same time, which is why I'm explaining it, and then I'll come back. Alright, after you mix in the flour, it's going to look kind of chunky like that. Then you want to mix in some sour cream. I always do a couple spoonfuls. Nothing major. My spoonful is kind of small, so I'm going to do like, I don't know, just like roughly half a cup. Like that, probably. Let's see how that turns out. I always eyeball it. But yeah, this is going to make your sauce. So the next thing you want to add is a little bit of mustard. I'm not fond of regular mustard, so I'm doing honey mustard. It just changes the sweetness a little bit. But you want to add probably, well, actually, I guess that's perfect. You want to add probably about a tablespoon. It just kind of gives it a little tangy. And then you, I always add, oh, that's my steak sauce. Whoops, I grabbed the wrong sauce. Good thing I read it. Hold on. Okay, as the Fairly Odd Parents say when they have their watch episode, redo. Okay, anyways, here is the correct sauce. You just want to add like 3 or 4 spurts of that. See, I just splittered on my stove. Now you know why I said in my description that I am a sloppy cook. And then I am a pantry cook. You're supposed to add okay, so normally you're supposed to add Monterey Jack or mozzarella cheese, but like I said, I'm a pantry cook. So I'm going to use Parmesan, and it doesn't really change the flavor that much. Most of the flavors from the Yorkshire sauce and the mustard and sour cream and stuff, it blends. So anyways, I'm going to stir this. And yes, it's supposed to be thick like this for this part of it. And this is usually where I taste it, because the milk doesn't change flavor. To change the flavor. Now, if you're making this for yourself, you can just taste it. Take a bite. Like I said, I think it needs more Yorkshire or mustard. Needs a little bit more tang. But if you're making it for somebody else, you might want to get a different fork. When you're making it for yourself, I'm just going to use the same fork and taste it. But yeah, you just keep adding. If you want it more sweet, then you'll have more sour cream and cheese and stuff. If you want it more tangy, it's Yorkshire, and regular mustard. I do honey mustard. And you just kind of do this part right here to whatever taste you want. And then after that, you add the milk to thin it down to the thin or thickness that you want. So then after you get it to the taste you want, then you just add milk. I usually do about that much to start with. And then you just stir it until it's all even. Alright, so here is what the sauce looked like when I got done. So, if that gives you a clue on its thickness. So yeah, and then I cut the steak up into bite-sized pieces, and now I'm going to stir it together and it'll be done. And there's the finished product that I'm gonna munch down. Yum yum stroganoff.